a cowardly one-punch killer who launched a surprise attack on a beloved family man outside a pub after a trivial dispute has been jailed. Trevor Reid was out celebrating his mother's 60th birthday in Gosforth, Newcastle, when he had a run-in with Michael Johnson, who was also out marking the arrival of his brother's child. The altercation began after Johnson became annoyed at Mr Reid for resting his arm on his shoulder. Newcastle Crown Court heard that Johnson lay in wait outside of the Gosforth Hotel pub and struck Mr Reid with a powerful punch to the jaw as he was leaving, rendering him unconscious. The devastating blow caused Mr Reid to fall and hit his head on a step, resulting in fatal brain injuries. There were cheers from some bystanders after the assault, and Johnson was seen receiving congratulatory gestures from an acquaintance before he left the scene, leaving Mr Reid critically wounded. Now 29-year-old Johnson from Rydal Road, Gosforth, who pleaded guilty to manslaughter, has been sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in prison. Sharon Reid, the victim's mother, expressed her anguish in a statement. Trevor was taken from me in a completely senseless attack. He did not have the opportunity to defend himself, and the coward that punched him did so in a calculated way, reports Chronicle Live. I will never forget the police arriving at my address in the early hours of the morning, telling me that Trevor was gone. I still can't believe it. He lived with me. He was the backbone of our family, and he did everything for me. She added, Trevor was a kind and caring young man. Everybody loved him. He had a brilliant sense of humour, and he would always be there if you needed him. I will never get over the loss of Trevor, and no sentence will ever be enough. His life has been taken for no reason at all. The defendant waited outside the pub for Trevor so he could punch him and catch him off guard. We really want him to feel the pain, like the pain he inflicted on me and my family. I will never be able to celebrate another birthday. Not a day goes by he is not in our thoughts. I will never get over the fact that he has been taken away from us in such a mindless way. I hope he has peace now. He has been reunited with his father. On September the 10th, 2022, Mr Reid, aged 36, was out celebrating his mother's 60th birthday, along with his sister Charlene and friends and other family members. The group dispersed around 9 p.m, but Mr Reid continued his night on Gosforth High Street, eventually entering the Gosforth Hotel at 10:30 p.m. Johnson, who was also out that evening toasting to the birth of his brother's child, turned up at the same establishment around 11:15 p.m. He had a history with the pub, having been previously barred due to fighting, although this ban had since been rescinded. Mr Reid was seen flitting from the group to group in the pub, trying to spark up chats and offering to buy drinks for others, with one onlooker suggesting he might have been seeking company. He even accidentally spilled some of his pint on Johnson's clothes after dropping his glass, but it didn't escalate. Things took a turn just after midnight when Mr Reid put his arm around Johnson's shoulder, which led to Johnson asking him twice to take it off. This sparked a heated exchange, and Johnson was calmed down by an ex-teacher who was also at the pub. Later on, Mr Reid ended up back with Johnson's crowd near the bar, not long after Johnson stepped outside the pub and was chatting to people there. 7 minutes later, Mr Reid left the establishment, and Johnson, spotting him through the window, decided to launch an attack. He whispered to his 2 mates before positioning himself beside the door, out of Mr Reid's sight, ready to ambush him. His friends also took up spots by the door. Judge Paul Sloan, KC, said to Johnson, "It's clear your intention was to take him by surprise. As he emerged, as Mr Reid emerged through that door, you spun around to face him and delivered a full force punch to his face. He fell straight back unconscious and unable to break his fall As he hit the ground, his head cracked against the entrance step. After the assault, people could be heard celebrating in the background. The judge continued, "You took him by surprise, so he had absolutely no chance to defend himself. You left others to deal with the aftermath. As he lay dying, criminally shameless, Johnson made no effort to aid the severely injured victim, instead departing up Salters Road with his companions, receiving congratulatory handshakes and pats on the back." The mortally wounded Mr Reid was heard making a snoring sound before stopping breathing, having sustained a fatal brain injury. Despite the diligent efforts of those present at the crime scene and paramedics, he was declared deceased at 1 a.m. The court was disclosed of Johnson's past convictions for drink driving, criminal damage and theft. Brian Haggerty, representing the convict, said Johnson recognises his gruesome act lacked any sense, and added he wishes to apologise to the family for what he has done. He recognises how inadequate such an apology will be. Mr Haggerty, bringing light upon some testimonies about Johnson, mentioned that they expressed shock at learning of the incident, describing it as completely out of character, depicting him as loving and caring to those who know him, including his children. He added, "Nothing shifts the position that this is a completely senseless attack. It was wholly unnecessary, and there have been catastrophic consequences for the Reid family, but the remorse expressed by the defendant is genuine. He is deeply and genuinely sorry. He is deeply affected by the fact he has caused the death of another man. That remorse will live with him for the rest of his life." Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.